All right, and here's a few other problems here. Again, we're talking about linear models. And we're going to do something a little interesting on the back end. We're going to change these linear equations into non-linear equations. So we'll work through a few of these questions here, and then we will, I'll show you how to do that one simple part at the end. So, all right, number 2, it's a word problem. Yay, word problems. We like this. We can do this. All right, Bill Nye the Science Guy. He's pretty awesome. Is planning a big surprise for his family during Thanksgiving. Bill paid $1.50 per pair of gloves and paid $50 for safety goggles. So let's stop there for a second and highlight a couple of key terms. So $1.50 per pair and $50 for safety goggles. All right, so it tells me that he paid $1.50 per pair. Again, do we know how many pairs of gloves he bought? No, and he'll probably need to buy multiple pairs of gloves he's buying for his whole family. And it says he paid $50 for safety goggles, so we just know that price. And it seems like he just bought safety goggles at one time, and we know the price for all of it. So it feels like it would be $1.50 per pair is M, and then $50 for goggles, meaning it's a one-time purchase or just a one-time thing. So it would be Y equals 1.50x plus 50, because again, we don't know how many pairs of gloves he's going to buy, but we know that the safety goggles were 50, so we're just going to tack that onto the price. Now, here's the next part that it tells me. If Bill needs to buy 16 pairs of gloves for his family, how much did he pay in total? So they give me how many gloves he actually bought. So usually, when we plug in a number, we plug Y for money, meaning if we know how much money we spend in total, that's what we plug in for Y. But this time, they gave us how many pairs of gloves he bought, or he needs to buy. So we would actually plug in 16 gloves for X. Remember? So the slope, looking at the slope, so it's $1.50 per pair. So it's money over gloves. So money over gloves, so $1.50 per pair of gloves, meaning, and again, remember, our slope, Y is on top, X is on the bottom, so meaning Y is money, and X is gloves. So that means I'm going to plug in 16 for X. So Y equals 1.5 times 16 plus 50. All right, so 1.5 times 16, going to need a calculator here. So 1.5, or $1.50 times 16, gives me 24. 24. And then 24 plus 50 is going to give me 74. But again, it's Y, and what does Y represent? Money. So $74 is what Bill Nye the Science Guy is going to have to pay in total. Is what Bill Nye the Science Guy is going to have to pay in total for his family and his big surprise. Now, the next thing we need to do is make this a non-linear equation. So let's go back up to the equation in purple. And what would be a way we can change this into a non-linear equation? Well, we kind of talked about if x has something attached to it. So it's not just regular x. If it were x squared or x to the fifth, it could literally be any number. But if I put a variable on x, it would change it to a non-linear equation. So I'll put x to the fourth, and we'll put plus 50 here. So that makes it a non-linear equation when we add an exponent to x. All right, and let's quickly go through, let's do number 4. I feel like doing number 4. All right, so I'm given 2 points. And remember, for every equation, I have to have the slope and the y-intercept. So let's find the slope for number 4 between these 2 points. Okay, here's x, here's y, x and y, x1, y1, x2, y2. All right, here we go. Because remember, my formula is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, so that means -9 minus -3. Notice how I had to write both negatives because the formula already comes with a negative, and I had to include the negative with -3. Over -4 minus -1, same thing in the denominator. All right, and we know that when two negatives are close together, they become positive. And -9 plus 3 equals -6. And then 4 Oh, it's going to be negative 4. Ooh, I'm glad I remember that. Negative 4 plus 1 equals negative 3. And negative 6 over negative 3, and negative divided by negative is a positive, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. So, my slope is 2. Now I have to find the y-intercept, because the two things I need are the slope and the y-intercept. But how do I find it? Well, it would be great if in my equation y equals mx plus b, it looks like I already have the slope, which is 2. Wouldn't it be awesome if I knew what y and x were to find b and get it by itself? Oh, that's right, I can pick one of the points up here. I'll choose the smaller numbers, negative 1 and negative 3. So, y is negative 3, so I'm going to plug in negative 3 equals 2 times x, which is negative 1, plus b. Now, let's solve for b. Here we go. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. And to get b by itself, we add 2 to both sides. And negative 3 plus 2 equals negative 1 equals b. All right, we have b, we have m, meaning now I can make my equation for the line. And that's going to give me y equals m, which is 2x plus b, which is negative 1. So I could really just write 2x minus 1 if I wanted to. All right, so there's my linear equation, but how do I make it a non-linear equation? Remember, if it has an exponent, if x has an exponent, then it becomes nonlinear. So I'm going to write 2x to the 5th. Why not? 2x to the 5th minus 1. That makes this a non-linear equation when x has an exponent. So there are a couple examples for you of how we write an equation of a line and how we change that equation into a non-linear equation.